Glad to see you got your certification, Crenshaw. If a maverick like you can do it, the other pilots should have no trouble at all. Welcome to Rio. Over the last few months, hostilities have escalated between Brazil and Las Trinidad, a nationalist anti-U.S. alliance that governs the countries along Brazil's northern border.
For flight, maintain formation and continue your patrol.
Hey everyone, Cyrinno here. I'm doing my review today on Tom Clancy's Hawx. Now, it's a flight combat simulator, a genre that's been pretty dead recently. The game follows Reaper Flight as they join a private military company, and initially you'll be doing combat in Africa, Arabia, and then South America. The flight controls are pretty good. Now, there's a range of different weapon types as well, for air and ground, and each of these weapons do have a different sort of a gameplay feel to them, so they all don't feel the same, they don't just point and shoot. As for the keyboard controls, for some reason they've used the Q and E keys for left and right, where I think they should have just gone with the normal first-person shooter controls of A, S, D and W. Because of that, you might have trouble unless you change it to W, A, S and D, which I had to because I don't know, muscle memory or something from playing so many first-person shooters, I could not use the Q and E keys. Every time I went to go left, I kept pressing A. And unfortunately these keys are also ones that fire missiles, change targets and such, so you'll definitely have to modify your controls if you're playing on the computer. If you're playing on the computer, you've got to make sure you get yourself a good joystick. The game does have Xbox 360 controller support. Now, with these missions, they're all pretty varied. Some have lots of air combat, some have lots of ground combat, some have special objectives that you've got to complete in certain ways, such as flying under the radar very close to the ground. There's usually lots of constant chatter in these missions, and it does keep the missions exciting. You probably won't get bored going through all the missions. There's 18 in total. It'll take about 8 hours to get through. Unfortunately, replaying them, there isn't much replay ability here because there's just mostly just different difficulty settings. If you want to replay the game, you have to play in co-op and you have to play at a higher difficulty because your AI is absolutely rubbish. You can't rely on them for anything.
Keep up the pressure on those landing ships. Don't let them reach the shore. We also need to cut down on the number of enemy troops in the area, or they'll overwhelm our defenses.
Okay, as you level up, when you complete every mission and complete challenges, there's 50 levels in total, I believe, and each time you level up, you unlock planes and weapons. So each plane can be loaded out with many different weapon types, and you don't really get to choose exactly which weapon you want. There are different configurations, so there's a little bit of customization there, but not too much, and you'll generally play through the entire campaign using the recommended fighter. Only if you go back in co-op will you use something different. There is a good in-combat, in-cockpit view, which can totally change the feel of the game, make it feel like more of a simulator. It's definitely worth trying out. The game's biggest disappointment is it's just length, 8 hours, and then you haven't got much to do unless you can get someone to play in co-op. So it forces me to give the game a 7 out of 10. Hopefully they'll have more to do in the next game. Cyrinno here, thanks for listening, see you next time.